enough of Keanu. Yes, it's true. Whenever we see you in another movie, get to wishing that you were in them all. Our hearts cry out, Keanu, haven't aged a day in 30 years. Now we're looking back on your career. Can't get enough of Keanu.
What we can't talk about is Axel.
From Twisted Metal.
Yeah. How did
great
his
character.
How did his vehicle work? Because now that I'm thinking about it, in my mind's eye, all I see are two big tires, and then a man sort of crucified between them, and so that his toes drag forever on the dirt, and it's like
So-
a
I
pedant.
thought he stood on a platform.
Okay, well, Jake, you know this.
So, boy, do I know
his
Axel
wife died in
from
a car
Twisted Metal.
accident. Yeah.
His wife died. I forget how, if it was in a car accident or not. But yes, his wife dying is sort of like the rage fuel that Axel runs.
Is he
on.
trying to resurrect her?
No, he has. I'm looking at pictures of him right now. He stands on a platform. His legs are locked in.
Let me see.
I thought his feet drag across the ground as part of the penance that he's supposed to be experiencing.
He's on a
No,
that is
but-
still okay. So
Pat, you're looking up Axel from like one of the later Twisted Metal games.
No, Twisted Metal.
This is Axel from like Twisted Metal 2.
God
Yeah,
damn it.
like
Jake.
PS1.
OG.
Maybe they changed it for Twisted Metal Black.
So
which
what do
was
you-
the
They
dark
made
Twisted
everyone
Metal.
edgier in Twisted Metal Black.
That's true.
That's when it got.
That's when they're
it
all
was
in like
dark.
a mental asylum.
That's when they're all in a friggin' mental.
I mean, that's why.
institution.
Wait,
So
wait,
mental
guys!
racing.
I found it. In
Yeah.
Twisted Metal Black, his feet are swinging free.
That's what I
okay.
thought.
He's free footing it.
That's what I thought.
Oh,
He's
so then what is?
free-footing
Why
it.
is he still? Why is that stupid vehicle when he's not doing penance for his dead wife? And I
Yeah.
thought, well, he was trying to raise her from the dead by getting his wish from Calypso, right?
By the way,
Yeah, he wanted his wish from Calypso.
Jake, can you pull your pop filter like an inch away from your mic?
Is that okay?
You're still popping.
When you have
bruh.
it on your mic, it doesn't really do anything.
You might as well not even have anything.
Fair
You
point.
might as well just.
I meant to
pull
say
out
this
at
to you in
that
the last
point.
episode and forgot.
Oh, was I popping like crazy?
Not like crazy,
But-
but there's still a pop filter
You
there.
sounded like freaking Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus. Darren's pop and lock routine. Darren's dance. I was like, Darren's dance groove.
Darren's dance grooves.
what is happening?
Pat, do you remember?
Look it up.
Pat, do you remember there was this like infomercial for a long time in like the early 2000s called Darren's Dance Grooves, and he would talk about how he could teach you his pop and lock dance routine.
Here it is.
Hell yeah,
His
Darren's
poppin'-
dance groove.
Darren's dance grooves.
Anyways, so my voice is doing, Darren's, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you want to dance like Britney Spears
Put it up
or
to the
NSYNC?
Mic.
Put it up to the microphone.
Wait, okay, one sec.
Yeah, you prepare to hear an
dance
old, I think basically infomercial or whatever.
Do you wonder where Britney Spears or NSYNC got their moves?
Yeah, you wonder?
Here's your chance to get the inside look at how it's done. With Darren's Dance Grooves, the new video that breaks down the moves and shows you how to do them step by step.
Step back on our right leg and then move forward. It is definitely the best choreography of all time.
His unique street-style dance steps have been featured
Yeah, I
in music
mean,
videos, award shows, and concerts
you get the
seen around
gist.
the world.
Dancing's all about having fun. Now you can get down with my new video. Ain't no lie.
Now these fresh moves are available
Ain't
for you
no
to learn
ba-
on
I love
Darren's
the
Dance Grooves. Plus,
VO
Darren will
guy.
show you his
Now
brand
these
new
fresh
pop-up
moves are available to you at a price of 3 installments of $19.99.
Do you want to
Okay.
pop and lock like a real b-boy?
I do definitely remember this now.
Yeah.
Specifically, I remember the "Ain't no lie, baby, bye,
Bye, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think some of our younger listeners don't even know that?
And
they don't
3,
even
2, 1, and Justin.
they don't even know the bye 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 music video.
Probably not. Yeah,
They didn't watch the making the video episode for the bye 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 music video, which I for some reason watched in 6th grade.
But do you know what?
I just watched a lot of MTV.
But
But
the
I
thing
loved
is-
making the video. That's how I learned about filmmaking.
No, but I mean the references can date you, but the freedom we have now is the internet, so like time doesn't really exist anymore. It's just
Fair
like
enough,
we
yeah.
can make a reference, and then if you really are like intrigued by, for instance, Darren's Dance Grooves, you can find it instantly. It's like you never were not born in that time period, or
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That being said, there is a large number of people younger than us now. There's a sizable population of folks that are
won't be
younger
as
than
funny.
us that, yes, didn't grow up with it. So they will have to go onto YouTube
Seek it out.
and access
You
it.
weren't marinated in these things so that when you just do a lazy callback and just say the name of something, you don't instantly laugh. You just are sort of like confused.
Yeah, we're like,
Just wheezing or emphysemic, like we're just so old.
Like when
Remember that? Popping neck.
like when we make a reference to like Carson
Gnomes.
Daly's black fingernail polish on TRL, which I remember being confused by.
Yeah.
Kids these days won't know what that means.
yeah, they
Yeah.
won't. Homestar Runner references are getting, dustier
I
by
mean,
the minute.
that's most of just our like reference,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
our
that's
bag of
true.
references. It's like 80% Homestar Runner, and then 20% just like late 90s, early 2000s rock music that we don't like all that much.
Yeah.
New metal. We talk about Stained more than Stained deserves. Just like it's been a while since I said I'm sorry. That's definitely come up at least 5 or 6 times on this podcast. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. What if dinosaurs were aliens?
So I have no memory of dinosaurs being on TV.
right.
That's a weird one where I just remember watching that theme song on YouTube a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
kinda
Yeah.
like I never watched Denver the Last Dinosaur on TV.
Denver, the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. And he had like
Good
scales
song.
that looked like a mohawk.
Yeah, and he also he
Hair
played
scales.
electric guitar and skateboarded.
Yeah.
But
He
even
was, he
in
was hip
pre
and radical.
in prehysteria,
Yeah, it
there was a T-Rex that the kids called Elvis, and he loved the king. He loved listening to the king.
He was a dino that loved the
because
king of
he's
rock
the
and
king
roll.
of the dinosaurs. Get it?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Rex.
Yes. Rex.
King
I
Respect
get it
King.
now.
Rex.
King of the dinos, respect King of Rock.
Yeah, game recognized game.
Yeah.
Although, like in that movie, they're baby dinosaurs. That's how they justify basically creating poorly animatronic toys to use in like the in the film. But those things are gonna keep growing. Like those kids just—I forget how it ends. Obviously,
Prehysteria?
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
The government wants the dinosaurs.
Is it like a small soldiers kind of thing?
No, because they're not toys; they're real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're from eggs that fucking somebody found.
So obviously, this is a podcast about prehysteria.
eggs.
We call this podcast hysterical for prehysteria,
That's too easy.
or is this prehysterical?
Pre-hysterical, yeah. Like, don't call it pre-cum. Dude, that's nasty.
That's nasty.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, it is.
Not a joke. It's just saying pre-cum.
But you put an exclamation point at the end of it.
Yeah, and then suddenly it's exciting.
I think that this is
And then it's like Jeb.
please come.
Man. That's awesome. All right, now we can introduce the episode.
Welcome to Can't Get Enough of Keanu, the internet's premier Keanu Reeves podcast, in which we explore the filmography of that great, ageless, enigmatic Canadian actor movie by movie. I'm Patrick Willems.
I'm Jake Torpey. Hi.
My name's Matthew Torpey.
Welcome to the show. As you can tell by the discussion we've been having for the past 8 minutes, today we're talking about the 1990 Lawrence Kasdan film, I Love You to Death, starring Keanu Reeves, but also Kevin Kline and more.
Mainly Kevin Kline, yeah.
Based on a true story.
Inspired by a true story.
Yes.
I
yeah,
think-
that's always important to say. Is
I know this
inspired.
is in like Seattle or like Tacoma or something, but
I thought it was New York City for a while.
I kept seeing too much water and I was like, this is the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it was hard to tell.
But
I
I think
assume that they, for a while, they just like lived in Jersey, like across the river.
well, the Italian thing is what the Italian the Italian pizzeria thing is really what throws you. It's
Yeah, 'cause
not what you don't assume.
They don't have Italians in Washington. All the
Right.
Italians live in
Yeah.
New York City.
The last time I
Well,
checked, there was
yeah.
0% Italians in Washington
yeah,
State.
Yeah.
yeah. The weird assumption is like, oh, this must be Hoboken.
But they are
or something.
198% of all Italian Americans are based within the New York City, New Jersey region.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a movie about an Italian man making a pizza pies.
Yes, it is.
So like, where do you think it's gonna be set?
Yeah.
New York.
I think
Yeah.
I
Get
may be
myself
wrong,
a real New York slice, baby.
but the thing it's loosely based on, I think, took place in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yes, that is true.
Also weird why they would transplant it to Washington.
I think
Yeah,
it's just
Tacoma,
where I think it's
Washington?
just where like all the actors were.
But
You know what I mean?
But
It's just-
still just pretend it's
Wait,
Allentown.
wait,
Like, shoot it in
that
Tacoma,
doesn't make
sure.
sense. It's not like Kevin Kline is like, I'll only shoot movies in Tacoma, Washington.
Yeah.
No.
He wasn't a hot enough star to
it's
leverage
gotta
that
be
kinda...
it's got to be a choice of convenience. It couldn't have been anything else.
But look at the
Maybe
movies that
tax write-offs or something?
Guys, remember the last two movies we've talked about? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, shot in New Mexico, set in California.
Yeah.
Parenthood, shot in Orlando, not set in Orlando.
No.
Movies can be shot in places that they are not set.
Anywhere they want.
So it's weird that this is Washington.
I would
Yeah.
have preferred it to be in Allentown anyway, because I don't know if any of we've been when we were younger, but
Well,
like
we
it's
went
just
down
such a like a
to
bland.
Why would you go there?
But that's what it would make it a good setting.
What brought you there?
Fan of the Billy Joel song.
Yeah.
You made a pilgrimage as children?
Yeah, our dad made us go on a Joel pilgrimage.
Yeah.
A Joel journey?
Joel Joel Seekers.
Like an annual event.
Yeah.
That's like, all right, it's July time. Or
It's
July
July.
Joel journey. July.
Joel. He's
You know what that
crying,
means?
driving us down to
No, we're all
Allentown.
crying. Dad, we don't want to keep
wanna go.
doing it. He's like, we're going to Long
I
Island.
hate July.
Just listening to scenes from an Italian restaurant and sobbing. We're all crying because we don't want to go to Allentown.
So I did not grow up in a household with parents that listened to Billy Joel at all. I think
Neither
I grew up
did
in a
we.
household with
We're
parents who
just
didn't
joking.
like Billy
Yeah, we're
Joel.
just joking.
And so
Sounds so much like Jelkin.
that was good, Jake.
Yeah.
But like I am really not well versed in Billy Joel songs.
Oh, I
can
actually
name, like,
genuinely love
5.
Billy Joel. You can name 5 Billy Joel songs?
Maybe
That's pretty
5.
good. What are
That's
they?
not bad, yeah.
Do
what do you
it.
got?
Do it.
Let's see what you got, Joel.
We g- My
Come
name
on,
is
Joel.
Patrick.
Not
okay,
right now.
We got Uptown Girl.
You good
Yes.
one. Yes.
We got Piano Man.
Very good.
Hell yeah,
Classic.
dude.
Maybe the
Classic.
most famous Billy Joel song.
Yup. I am drawing a blank.
Okay.
For real.
So let's do
Yes,
this.
genuinely.
What's the one?
We didn't start the fire?
We didn't start the fire.
Very good one.
Right.
Yeah, I actually don't even know that one.
It's still rock and roll to me. It's still rock and roll to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Big
that-
shot. Thought you
Is it
were a
big
shot? Didn't. I mean, this is not impressive because he's like one of the most famous musicians.
everybody knows all the
in
Billy Joel
the United
songs.
States, but
Only the Good Die Young.
Only the Good
Yeah,
Die Young is a very
nice.
good one. Personal favorite, The Stranger.
I've heard of it.
wow,
I've probably heard the song at some point.
bad.
This is terrible whistling.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that.
Anyway, New Jersey.
Well, Billy Joel's great, right? But see, okay. Here's the thing with Billy Joel. He's definitely overrated.
Is
But
he?
yes,
Or
he's overrated.
He's not correctly rated.
He's overrated.
He's
a little
overrated.
bit. He's unjustly maligned by his haters. He is unjustly maligned. He is definitely overrated, but he also does not deserve the hate that he gets from the opposite side of the spectrum. People that don't like Billy Joel like really dig their heels in the sand. They hate Billy Joel.
The right perspective is the one that me and Jake, and I assume you have, Patrick.
What's my perspective?
Indifference, you know?
No,
Yeah.
no. I don't have indifference to Billy Joel. I like Billy Joel.
Okay.
I've come out on appreciating him. He is the only artist I know. He's the only songwriter I know that like throughout his entire career, he never made an album that didn't have a hit single. So many famous artists that you can speak of still have chunks of their career, albums worth of chunks, where they didn't write a single song that was
Albums worth of chunks.
sure. I did say that.
What about Hall & Oates?
I can't speak for Hall & Oates. I don't know them that well.
Jake, what was the hit single off of 1993's River of Dreams?
Okay, you got me. I don't fucking know. But look, what I want to say is that Billy Joel also, River of Dreams was close to, if not his last album that he made.
River Pheonix is in this movie.
Good pivot, Matt.
Let's just get off the Joel train.
All I wanted to say was I think it should have been set in Allentown. It's like a
That's
more
true.
appropriate setting if you're going to do like just because it's more nondescript. If you were going to do this like kind of Fargo / lady killers /
Yeah.
kind of, you know what I mean? This thing where like there's this like weird suburban crime that's happening out of nowhere.
Matt, I've got to stop you right there. The Billy Joel album River of Dreams did have hit singles off of it.
Give it to me, Pat. What is it?
Were they?
The title track, The River of Dreams, peaked at number 3 in the United States.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Could not tell you what that song sounds
I don't
like.
know
No,
that
neither
one.
can I. But Billy Joel had a top 5 single in 93.
Damn.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
He's also one of those guys too that retired, like at least if not at that album, then right after.
I
it.
think that's his last studio
Right.
album.
Yeah, he just trots out the hits like
Yeah, he made a
couple
concerted
times a year,
decision,
once a
like,
year.
hey, I'm culturally done.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do now is just sell out Madison Square Garden
For like 100 nights in a row.
every year.
Right.
For many,
How
for
many
multiple
nights in a row did he do it? Because he kept adding dates. He kept being like, well, this one
Right.
sold out. Let's go to like 78.
But
He's
that's
like,
the
me
thing.
and my audience, we're just going to keep going to each other's shit until we die together.
Seriously, that's
Yeah.
what he's doing. He is since 1990, like early 90s, right? He's just selling out
93
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
And his whole MO is like, I will continue to be a live performer until I have a show that doesn't sell out. And he has not sold out. It's 2019. It's close to 2020. And Billy Joel still sells out Madison Square Garden every time he does a show
You know
there.
what? Respect. You're right.
Respect,
Can
seriously.
we just cancel Keanu and start a podcast where that's just focused on Billy Joel? It's going to be called Just Joel.
Just Joel.
Where it's about Jake. You can be, I guess, we're like the Three Bears.
Yeah.
You know, but with 3 levels of knowledge on Billy Joel. Jake has the most. Matt has the middle most. I have the least.
No, this is a bad podcast though, because I actually don't have like what I feel is an adequate knowledge
Compared to me,
do a podcast about
You have a
him.
bunch.
That's true.
And we'll just go through the entire discography of Billy Joel.
Yeah.
We'll talk about every song. I think our listeners will love it. It's a really natural transition from
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves.
I mean, look, if you got to pick somebody that just has like a very, very general popularity, sure, Billy Joel kind of works.
Did we get on this whole tangent because of Allentown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking
the original,
Christ.
I Love You to Death is the movie we're covering, by the way. And the original, the true story that this movie is based on happened in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Which
And
by
Jake, what was that true story?
the okay, I'm gonna flub the. It was an attempted murder that happened in 1983, where a woman named Frances Toto repeatedly
Good name.
Frances Toto's a
Like
great
the
name.
band.
Yeah.
Repeatedly tried to kill her husband Anthony Toto. She attempted to murder him 4 separate times in a short span of time, and
Spent
did
4
not
years in
succeed,
prison.
and spent 4 years in prison, and was then released in the year 1988. And that is what this movie, I Love You to Death, directed by Lawrence Kasdan, is about.
And
She is bad at trying to kill her husband.
She was bad.
I mean,
He's-
in this movie, he's basically an Italian Rasputin.
Yeah.
Like, he will not die.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. It's like he's so Italian that he can't die.
Imagine if Rasputin loved spaghetti.
I'm so excited to just be able to make fun of Italians now during this episode, just in an organic way.
Purely organic.
This fucking Fredo motherfucker.
well, one thing
You know, this movie was reminding me. I was like, oh man, we have to talk about Kevin Kline trying to do an Italian
He's like
accent.
barely like
It's so bad.
It's like he just like because I know exactly what Kevin Kline sounds like, and so like when he just says words straight up just as Kevin Kline randomly, it's so funny.
It's not good.
Here's the thing. I enjoyed
He's
the
like,
performance
it's a me,
so much.
Kevin Kline. Kline.
It is okay. I feel like here is what I think Kevin Kline is doing in this movie. I think he had heard that they were going to make a Super Mario Brothers movie and started just working on this character and didn't get cast as Mario, and so just used his voice for this movie.
Yeah.
It is just he is usually wearing red. He's got a big mustache.
Yep.
And he's talking like a Mario for the whole movie.
Yes, he is.
Making the pizza pies. His name is Joey Boca.
My name is Joey Boca. I love the country. Oh,
yeah.
mamma mia! I'm just working so hard. I tried to relieve a little stress by cheating on my wife. It's so fine. Just get a little pussyladuccio.
He is. He cheats on. He's a serial cheater.
Yeah, he's a philanderer.
Kevin Kline plays Joey Boca, a philanderer.
And Boca just means mouth.
In Spanish.
Does it mean mouth in Italian?
Honestly, because they're both Romance languages, it probably means mouth.
Which I think
in
is probably the joke is like
Italian as well.
You know, the whole idea is like he's a man of appetites. Like he just consumes.
He wants a beso on the boca.
Yeah, he wants
Beso mi mucho.
He wants
He
a
wants to
sauce.
get kissed.
He wants a gravy on his noodles.
But I mean, Kevin Kline is my favorite thing about this movie.
I mean, oh, really?
Yes, dude. Yes. What the fuck are you on,
man.
Jake?
No, I actually do it. All right. Well, look, Kevin Kline is a fucking cartoon in this movie.
Yes,
Yes,
he
that's
is.
what's the funniest thing. They literally pull spaghetti off of a bullet when they take it out of his belly. It's so funny. It's like I think this movie.
This is so Italian.
I really like this movie for reasons like that are
Have nothing to do with the actual quality of the
largely
movie.
intentional, I think. But it is funny to me because like I genuinely think now there's like this. There was very recently, right, Pat? This weird was it an article or some sort of response to like the fact that it's still okay to make fun of Italians?
Yeah.
Like there was some like big to do about it recently, like maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago or something.
Oh,
But,
really?
like, yeah, which was hilarious, you know. But it was like I don't like that. It was like I don't like that people can still go so hard on Italians being greasy, dumb mafia spaghetti eating guys.
And they were like, and somehow this is okay and socially acceptable, but like,
Right. It was one of these like this is kind of maybe this is also racist kind of thing.
sure.
Which, you know, like whatever. But so I enjoyed it all the more for the recent sort of cultural shift on it. Not even cultural, just a quick moment. Where
You know what I was
He's
thinking
playing
about?
almost like the ultimate cartoon of an Italian person.
he's like a platonic ideal of an Italian man.
Again, he's Mario.
Virile pasta eating.
But like he owns
Hairy.
Joey's Pizzeria.
He owns
It's
a
just-
pizzeria.
It's lazy almost.
His poor kids. He has the weirdest thing is like he has two kids who are just like
Joey
going
Boca.
to be so fucking traumatized after all this shit. But I mean,
They will not understand how a proper relationship works.
there are some like truly hilarious moments in this movie, and I appreciate I always appreciate a good like dark comedy. It has some like this is not Coen thing like sort of a Coen thing. 'cause
It's
that's
trying to do a Coen
but it's
thing.
trying. It's more like specifically a Fargo type of like plot line almost.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay, so we've got to talk about the Coen brothers because this
Yes.
is funny
Yeah, we
because
do. It's so trying to be a Coen
no,
Brothers
but
movie.
here's the thing. It's trying to be a Coen Brothers movie before that was a thing.
Right.
Because this was 1990.
Right.
Like what we think of now as a Coen Brothers movie, a dark comedy based on usually a kidnapping plot, wasn't really a thing yet.
Right.
Because they were only like 2 movies into their career.
Yeah,
they
they were
made Blood
just-
Simple and
and
Raising
Raising
Arizona.
Arizona.
And Miller's Crossing maybe came out in 1990. Jake, look it up.
Yeah.
Miller's Crossing preceded Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo was
Yes.
94.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
then it went Barton Fink, Hudsucker Proxy, Fargo.
Right.
So what was the,
Miller's Crossing came out in October of 1990s.
okay? So there we go, same year, and so our like
This movie came out in April.
there we go. So there have only been 2 Coen Brothers movies released before now. So I don't think this is influenced by them.
Yeah.
at
No,
all.
it's not.
This is not like if this came out now, you'd be like, oh, it's like a Coen Brothers knockoff.
It's like as if somebody had the same inclinations as the Coen Brothers, but just had a less assured hand at doing it. Like Lawrence
Right.
Kasdan probably had the same impulses in
Well,
mind when he was
okay.
trying to make this movie.
well,
You guys probably did this research, but what did Lawrence Kasdan do?
oh, that's
he is
what,
a brilliant director who
that is what I'm
yeah.
here for
Yeah,
because
Pat can explain it better.
Here is
right.
what is interesting to me about Lawrence Kasdan. He is most famous as a writer.
Okay.
He wrote The Empire Strikes Back. He wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He directed The Big Chill. He directed
Body
Heat.
Heat.
oh, damn. William
Silverado.
Hurt just keeps coming back into these
Yes,
things.
The
Yeah.
Accidental Tourist, which was his movie before this, which I believe won 2 Oscars.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's a great writer and a great director.
and he's literally still writing Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so I found this quote on the IMDb trivia page, which
Mm-hmm.
you always have to take with a grain of salt. But here is what they have Lawrence Kasdan saying about the script, because this is his first script that he directed but did not write himself.
Yeah.
Kasdan says, the screenplay made me laugh out loud when I read it, but I was also taken with the emotional level of the piece. There's something very touching, almost sweet about it, even though it's a very dark story and people do terrible things in it. You understand them all, and they're not evil people.
Right, and we were
I don't
saying-
know how I feel about Lawrence Kasdan's take on these characters.
Yeah,
Wait, do you think they are evil?
I don't know if I would be like, oh, but at the end of the day, they're very sweet.
Yeah.
And there's something very, very like lovely and
This is-
endearing about these people. I don't know if I would agree with that.
This
I
is-
think
I
that
don't
they're
know. I think that there kind of is. Like, I see. I don't support what everyone does, but I see where
good.
where they're all coming from.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Everyone has motivations for sure. The problem is,
And then at the end, he forgives everybody.
He forgives everybody, which
Well,
is a good impulse. I love
well, he's
the
Jesus
idea.
Christ, obviously.
I love the idea of forgiveness. I do like the idea of forgiving people.
Wait,
It's very cool.
imagine if there was like a.
It's sweet, dude.
It's a pretty tight idea.
I wish they went really overt with the Christ metaphor, and he got shot in his hand to get stigmata.
He gets shot in both hands and falls down.
Mamma mia! My blood is as red as a tomato sauce.
Wait, what if they gave him like marinara sauce stigmata? That would be good.
Dude, Holly Berry in marinara stigmata. Makes no sense what I just.
Wait, Halle Berry?
Holly Berry was in the movie Stigmata.
She wasn't the lead in it.
Yeah, but she's
Kim
in it.
Basinger was the lead in Stigmata.
She
Wait,
was. Maybe I'm thinking.
Wait. Oh, wait. No, maybe she was. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of Bless the Child.
Yeah.
No, Gabriel.
Dub that, you fucking idiot.
Wasn't Gabriel Byrne the lead in Stigmata?
No, I think Holly Berry was. I'm gonna look this up. Pat, you don't worry about this. I'm gonna look it up. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jake.
No,
that
Patricia Arquette. It's Patricia
is in what?
Arquette, and I was right, Gabriel Byrne.
Okay.
Nia Long.
Once again,
is
you're
the
trying to
black
say
woman in Stigmata, but she's not the lead.
So Jake's racist?
No, I'm not.
In conclusion, so
What was
yeah,
Halle
the
Berry in
emotional, the sort of like the the moral gray areas.
Jake, you're thinking of Bulworth.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking
you're
of
actually Jake. You're thinking of Bulworth.
Bulworth. You guys keep
You're
talking.
thinking
I'm
of
gonna-
Catwoman.
The Warren Beatty film in which he gets Stigmata.
Warren Beatty, the one where he raps, and it's one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie. He raps about politics or something.
Have you guys seen that movie?
Yeah.
I saw it when I was like 13, and it was like insanely funny.
Honestly.
And I'm terrified to revisit it because I feel like it has probably.
I wouldn't be
It's
terrified.
probably so uncomfortable now.
You know what I'm thinking
No, it's
of?
really fun. It's extra funny.
You know what I was thinking of when I said Holly Berry?
Gothica?
Yeah.
Gothica.
I don't know why.
I was trying to say Suburbia,
Gothica, yeah.
or whatever the Shia LaBeouf one is.
I wonder why I confused that with
Oh,
Stigmata.
Disturbia.
Disturbia.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I don't know why I confused
yeah.
Gothica with Stigmata. Yes,
I mean, it's
but-
fun. Whatever. Like
They're all
do you-
spooky.
My brain is just a freaking.
They're all ooky spooky.
You got
Yeah.
ooked by both of them.
I did get ooked by both of them. Do you guys
yo.
forgive me for thinking Gothica was Stigmata?
Well, we just talked
Yeah.
about forgiveness,
And we also
saying
clarified
yes.
that you're not racist.
Yes, thank you.
In pace domino requiem, Jacob velajunda
Grazie,
forgiveness
Matthew.
pace
Grazie.
Veritas.
Thank you for singing that song.
Yeah.
Because this is a movie
appreciate it.
about Kevin Kline forgiving the people who tried to kill him.
Really forgiving them.
He
As
bails
in-
them out. He bails his attempted murderers all out of jail. Even like the hired killers, one of which is our dude Keanu.
Yes.
But
Yes.
But we're talking about this movie. and
Kevin
that-
Kline gets drugged and shot twice because he slept around.
Yes.
Yes.
He gets,
In broad strokes, that is the movie.
everyone learns a lesson.
Everybody does.
People
learn a
do
lesson.
learn how to be better people.
Yeah, adultery bad, murder also bad.
It's called adultery. We're all adults here.
All right, let's start at the
We
beginning
all
with
do
this.
it.
We all cheat on everybody.
Can I do the classic? Read the first paragraph of the Wikipedia article on this.
Jake, who do you think you are, Patrick Willems?
I'm asking for your permission. I'm asking for your permission to do this.
You know he's gonna be mad. You
I
stole
will
his
do it,
one
and
job.
and I will enunciate
breathe
every
through.
word.
I'll get you a paper bag you can breathe through.
Please don't throw up. Oh no, he's coughing.
Oh no.
No, do a re. Don't be re about it.
Jake, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna sit back.
Pat's
and,
being
gonna-
very big about this.
I'm gonna read the first. He's being
such a good boy
He's being
about
adult about it. I'm gonna read the first paragraph.
Pat's
from the
doing adultery
Wikipedia.
about this right now.
I'm gonna read.
I'm
the
adultering real good.
Yeah, he is being. He's adulting.
What is adultering? I can't has adultery.
So this movie.
Hashtag adultering.
All right, the movie I Love You to Death.
Yeah.
Joey Boca, played by Kevin Kline, is the owner of a pizza parlor.
You're over enunciating.
Located.
I would never enunciate.
You're
like
gonna make
that.
me self-conscious as while I'm saying. All right, is the fuck. Joey Boca, played by Kevin Kline, is the owner of a pizza parlor located in Tacoma, Washington, and has been married to Rosalie, played by Tracy Ullman, for years.
Can we fire Jake from this role now?
He's been married to Tracy Ullman for years. Their marriage seems a typical one until Rosalie discovers in the public library that Joey is a womanizer and has been cheating on her for a long time. So that's what you have for the first paragraph here.
Yeah.
Yep. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake,
Thus catalyzing the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
Jake, valiant effort.
Yeah, that
Thank
was
you,
really
Pat.
good, dude. Everyone pat yourselves on the back.
Yeah, you guys were making me laugh though. Stop.
So
Don't do that.
anyway, that's I Love You to Death. A good episode. Fun little film. Kevin Kline has a mustache.
You can follow me on Vero.
Follow my Venmo transactions.
Maybe send me some. Anyway, so this movie begins with Kevin Kline in the confession booth.
Even better than that, it begins with the
TriStar Studio
text-
logo?
The TriStar Studio logo spinning like a pizza pie dough, spinning.
Yeah, there's like green screen
an
pizza.
Italian pizzeria man's finger.
But then there's steel drums playing.
Yeah,
So it's
I
very
didn't understand
Jamaican
In a
that.
as well.
score by James Horner.
Yeah, James Horner,
did
the
did
page
the score.
master guy.
Wait,
Yeah, dude.
wait, back up. James Horner is the page master guy.
That's right.
No way.
Whatever you imagine.
Da-da-da.
Wait,
That song makes me cry, Wendy Moten.
that's what you associate him with?
I know he did something else. Like
But
way more
what?
famous.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, films like Titanic
Oh, yeah.
and Aliens are Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Much more well-known movies than the page
Or the
master.
film Willow.
Oh. I do know those better.
Yeah. So yeah, that is what James Horner did. He did do the Page
Master,
but a
though.
lot of other more well-known movies as well.
But also
and
the
he
Page
and
Master.
his score for I Love You to Death is mainly performed by the steel
what,
drum.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit in a way is like, and I know this is like this is already a famous, almost like sort of classical. What's the one from Badlands?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
You
the
know
steel
the-
drum.
Orff.
Yes. The Orff piece that's like, jaunty, but it's criminals, but like it's there to cut through the tone of things that would otherwise be way grimmer. I assume they think things would be grimmer without these like marimbas and steel drums playing throughout occasionally the movie when, they attempt to kill Joey many times.
They do try to shoot
By the
Joey
way,
Boca.
Gossenhauer is the name of the piece.
Gossenhauer, yeah.
Yeah, which was then reworked by Hans Zimmer for True Romance.
Oh.
For
Again,
True Romance?
Yeah, it's the theme from True Romance. It's called
Oh.
You're So Cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's played on oh my god, what are they called? Not quite xylophones. but-
Marimba?
Yeah.
The woodblock xylophone.
Yeah.
I just said that.
Because
You
To
just said
Romance,
marimba?
like Badlands, is a movie
Sorry.
about two criminals in love and on the run.
Yeah.
yes,
Uh,
and love will conquer all.
That's what I hear. But yeah, no, it is a funny.
That is what I hear.
And that's what the movie's about.
Thanks, Matt. But I think the steel drums are part of why I thought this was set in New York.
Right, like a subway station performer.
Right. There's that like
Yeah.
34th Street guy who's been trying to play Four Elise by Beethoven on the steel drum for the entire time I've lived in this city.
Dude, he's getting there. Okay.
For Elise and Billie Jean.
Yes.
Are the two songs that
Dude, get off his back, dude. He's gonna figure it out.
No, I like it, but
I mean,
I'm just saying.
he's better than the West 4th Street drummer. I was telling Matt about this last night. There was this guy who was there almost all day, every day at the West 4th Street stop in the tunnel down to the downtown train.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
has a snare drum like hanging like in front of him, and he just goes da 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 da
Oh, God.
continually all day, every day, same rhythm. It does not change. It's like he's actively trying to drive everyone insane as they're like rushing to and from work.
He's doing some kind of like strange performance art piece.
Although
almost.
one time I saw him, depending on what the ad, because there's like ads on the walls through that tunnel, and it's super reverby.
Yeah.
So one time I was laughing because like it was like an underwear ad. It was like Thinks or something.
Thanks. Okay.
The ad, the underwear you can get like your period in and stuff. And he was like, basically he was like inside somebody's crotch playing the drums. And it just said like think over his head or whatever.
He was standing right in front of the poster.
But you're right, it is super
Matt,
annoying.
that would have been like a great Instagram. You get that? You snap that pic?
I'm not going to just take a picture of a guy.
Yeah. Same here.
That's true.
But I would not do that.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's a little because usually you're in a hurry. You know, it sucks to commute and live here. So that is like such an added, just like sense of just like marching orders or something.
Yeah, that kind of just blows my mind because it's just one endless rhythm that is just relentless. But anyway, because of the steel drums, and you think of New York's being like this place with so many different like cultures and ethnicities, and like types of music coming in, so being like, okay, it's this Italian guy, but then there's this like sort of Caribbean steel drum score.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, New York, baby.
Must
No,
be.
It's not. It's not.
Tacoma,
It's
Washington.
it's not
baby.
even. It's not even Seattle. It's Tacoma. It's like where
Yeah.
Tim Allen's from.
Oh.
Or no, is he Canadian?
I don't know where Tim Allen is from.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Home Improvement.
Or is just did he get arrested with cocaine on the Canadian border?
Did Tim
I
Allen
don't
get
know.
arrested for cocaine
Yeah, there's
possession?
that great mugshot of him as like a young
No,
man.
really?
Yeah. He
Oh,
had
wow.
a lot of cocaine.
Was this while he was in
No,
Home
this
Improvement
was
or
before.
It was 78.
pre?
Yeah,
Home
it was way
Improvement?
before.
Oh, wow.
Pre Tim Allen Family
Good
Man.
time for cocaine. Yeah.
Ooh,
Look at
he's
him.
got a cool mustache. Wow.
I mean, let's
We're
be
looking at-
honest.
we're
Kind
looking
of a
at-
Joey Boca mustache.
Yeah, he does look a little-
He does look a little bit like Joey Boca.
Tim Allen, when he got arrested back before Home Improvement started, looks a little bit like Joey Boca in the movie I Love You to Death.
Assuming that you have not seen the movie, listeners, because this is a movie not a lot of people have seen, it did make $16.2 million at the box office.
It's a Lawrence Kasdan film. I think people gave it the benefit of the
It's
doubt.
also had
people
it,
were like,
it has
okay,
huge
let's go see
stars
it.
of the day too.
Huge
like,
stars.
yeah, this was Kevin Kline, I believe, coming off of A Fish Called Wanda.
Right,
Yeah,
which
which
is
is like-
when he got his Academy Award nomination. Did he win for A Fish Called Wanda? Best Supporting Actor.
Yes,
or
he
something?
won Best Supporting Actor.
Right.
This
This is like Daniel Day-Lewis doing 9. Basically, he won for like his performance in a movie, and then was like, "What is my next move here?
What should I transform into?
I Love You to Death. I'm gonna do basically a Mario accent."
Yeah. Well, here's an important
and be
thing.
an owner of a pizzeria.
This movie does adhere to Roger Ebert's Kevin Kline mustache principle.
Which
You guys
is-
know
Right.
this?
no,
I didn't know he
let's
had
hear
a
it.
mustache.
This is a
principle,
thing
yeah.
that Roger Ebert would mention in it was part of his movie glossary.
Yeah.
And he would reference it a lot through like the 90s especially, where if Kevin Kline has a mustache, he's playing a goofy character in a comedy. If he's clean shaven, it's a drama. And
That tracks with what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
From based on this film, correct.
Yep, but I remember
The Ice Storm, no mustache.
No mustache. But I have to now read an excerpt from his Wild Wild West review.
He doesn't
Okay.
have. Does he have a mustache in Wild Wild West?
No.
Yeah.
Here's the final paragraph.
I forget.
of
I always
Roger
forget he's in it because I always get him confused with Kenneth Branagh by that
No,
point.
Wild Wild
with
West is my
Artemis
Yeah.
from the start of this, running the game, James West taming the West, so remember the name.
Yeah.
He's Artemis.
Matt.
Okay.
He
I'm
also
sorry.
he also plays Ulysses S. Grant in Wild Wild West. He plays two characters.
With
that's-
prosthetics though, because his face looks a lot different.
He has like a beard on.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Never mind.
Okay,
I
but
like-
the
I
final
like
paragraph
Kevin
of
Kline.
Roger Ebert's 1-star review of Wild Wild West is Wild Wild West is so bad it violates not one but two rules from Ebert's Bigger Little Movie glossary. By casting
me.
M. Emmett Walsh as the train engineer, it invalidates the Stanton Walsh rule. I'm not sure what that is. Which states that no movie with Harry Dean Stanton or M. Emmett Walsh can be altogether bad. That's a great rule. Okay. And by featuring Kevin Kline without facial hair, it violates the Kevin Kline mustache principle,
no.
which observes that Kline wears a mustache in comedies but is clean-shaven in serious roles. Of course, Kline can always appeal on the grounds that although he is clean-shaven in his main role here, he sports facial hair in several of the other roles he plays in the movie. Or perhaps he could use the defense that Wild Wild West is not a comedy.
It's not a comedy. It's like a very, very intense
Serious.
drama about,
Yeah.
Ulysses S. Grant coming to terms with a giant mechanical spider.
It's about.
And
I
the
didn't
top,
bring my fly swatter.
Yeah.
and the top half of Kenneth Branagh's body.
Right. Well, it's
Yeah.
about. It's what it's about is sort of like, it's about an age of sort of rustic frontier individualism coming to an end as mechanization and industrialization sort of create these slave-like roles for the individual. As capitalism kind of relegates people to these productive nodes.
Very good.
Exactly.
And only a half machine, half man, Loveless,
Yeah.
could represent such an unholy union. A la Crash,
That's
Cronenberg
exactly it.
Crash,
Yeah, and he shoots homing blades
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
both Will Smith and Kevin Kline.
which is slave collar imagery.
Yes.
And so there you go.
Because as a great man once said, once upon a time
In the West,
madman
lost his damn mind in the West.
Loveless, given up a dime, nothing less.
Yeah.
Now we must put his behind to the test.
True poet Will Smith. William Smith.
And the key is that
Na, na, na,
Loveless
na,
doesn't
na, na,
have
na.
genitals. And so he
Well-
is half the man he would be if he just had his penis and balls.
do they actually make a comment? Is Loveless
Yeah.
minus penis and balls?
Yes,
in Wild
that's like
Wild
a big
West?
part
That
of-
comes up in the movie.
Yeah, the movie is this completely tasteless, horrible thing where they just call him a cripple and make fun of the fact that he has no genitals.
Understand me, son, I'm the slickest they is.
Yeah.
I'm the quickest they is. Did I say I'm the slickest they is?
And then meanwhile, Jim West is coming and everyone's drinking water at the beginning.
Also true.
He does sleep with the
Jim
the,
West
the
in
lady
Desperado.
in the water tower. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is true.
Be out of that dress once you meet Jim West.
Yeah.
How many more lyrics to Wild Wild West can I say in this
All of
episode?
them.
all
You
of
can
them,
sing
Pat.
all of them. We know you know all
Me
of
and
it.
Matt are both aware that 100% of the lyrics to the song Wild Wild West.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to prove it to you guys. I know you know this.
Yes.
But I haven't been at karaoke in a while, and so I haven't had an opportunity to publicly display my stupid knowledge of
In
these
fact,
words.
you know Wild Wild West. Yeah.
It's okay, man.
They never come in handy, except for like every 2 years, this will come up.
You should just
Yeah.
go to a job interview one day and they're like, so Pat, like, strengths, weaknesses? And you just do the whole song, but like you're a judge in a court hearing, just reading the lyrics. So you're just like saying them really soberly.
Yeah.
And you just look always 100% maintaining eye contact with your
You'll
interviewer.
be out of that dress.
Yeah, like
When
looking
you
right
meet
at the person.
Jim West. Jimothy West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swallow your pride. Don't let your hip react. You don't want to see my hand. Wait, sorry. I
Where
messed
my
up.
hip be at.
Sorry. Don't let your lip react.
Oh.
You don't want to see my hand where my hip be at.
yeah.
And then it's with Artemis from the start
You
of
don't
this round
want
of
to
the
see
game.
your hand where my hip.
No,
be
my
at.
hand.
Your lip
Better not react. Best not react.
Your lip best not react.
reacts to the lip hip?
I'm a little confused by what Will Smith is trying
He's trying to say
convey
he's
here.
drawing his gun.
yeah, you don't want to
yeah.
see my hand
Where my
my
hip
hip
be
be
at.
Got it. Yeah,
That's
because
where
that's
that's
where
where
he
his
draws.
holster
yeah, yeah.
is.
Yeah, and then
Wild
with
West
Artemis,
style.
Artemis is Kevin Kline.
Yeah.
From the start of this, from the start of the movie.
I like Kevin Kline. He's a good actor.
He's a very good actor.
He's a very good actor. This movie,
He's great.
Yes.
okay, hold on.
2-1. I'm
Great,
glad there's a
great,
dissenting
great,
voice,
great.
though.
I don't like Kevin Kline. This movie.
Why? Are you offended?
But to Jake, he's a Kevin Kline. He makes the pizza pie and he fucks other women.
I want to show you, man. I'm a man, but I'm Italian. I have to
Okay.
have sex with the women.
All right, you know what my problem is with Kevin Kline in this movie?
You hate Italians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't like pin me to that.
Yo, I don't like listening to these freaking Italians talking all funny, can't even speak
Why
Italian.
would you do that? I don't like Kevin Kline because not because
his
he's
teeth
doing
are sharp.
his teeth aren't sharp.
Look, I have very sharp teeth, and Jake doesn't hate me to my knowledge.
All right, look, Kevin Kline.
Your teeth are sharp.
So the internet has been telling me for 6 years.
If I could become old though, real talk, and my teeth fall out, I'm just gonna get
Jaws teeth?
metal. No, but I like not regular. But I want shark teeth. Metal,
like
spiky teeth.
Jaws
Every
from
tooth
James Bond.
is a fang.
no, James Bond Jaws had like just metal teeth.
But they're spiky, aren't they?
They are they spiky?
I think they are.
I think Jaws' teeth are just metal.
I
but
thought they were just
otherwise
metal.
normal.
Him biting out a cable car.
I don't think every
wire is
tooth
so
is
awesome.
is sharp. I don't think every tooth in Jaws' mouth is a fang.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What I'm
Kevin,
what I'm saying about Kevin Kline's Italian accent in this movie is I don't have a problem with the fact that he's being slightly cartoonish.
Slightly?
He's being very
There we
cartoonish.
go.
Thank you. Okay, I'm glad you guys acknowledge that. I don't have a problem with the fact that he's being very cartoonish in this movie. My problem is that, and we have had this qualm with both Joshua Hartnett and Keanu Reeves in Dangerous Liaisons. He is being very inconsistent with his accent, and it sometimes will break through as just straight up Kevin Kline talking in his normal voice without an Italian accent. And so I think the problem is that he's being very, very inconsistent.
I disagree. I think he's consistently bad with the accent.
But I don't know if that's
me-
not agreeing with my point that he's consistently bad about having a shitty Italian accent.
Right, but I'm just saying if you're doing a cartoon character, part of what how to
like,
describe you, Pat, you agree with me, right? Like
I do. I also
he
didn't.
can't do it to the same degree every scene.
I also didn't detect a whole lot of just regular Kevin Kline coming
How
out.
is that different to like an actor's commitment to a particular aspect of his role versus just being bad at having an accent?
Well,
I
no,
think
okay.
we have a different perspective on what on enjoying it.
Okay, here's my thing.
Well,
okay,
then we're never gonna-
I'm gonna state this now.
Okay.
I do not think he's aiming for a realistic
wine.
Italian accent. I think he's aiming for an exaggerated cartoony accent, and I think he succeeds at that.
Oh, you think it's intentional?
Yes.
No,
I
I
do.
think-
I think he's so big and goofy that I think this is again the thing. I think he's I know we made the Coen Brothers comparison earlier. I think this would be like very much like in place in a like wacky Coen Brothers in like a Raising Arizona or something like that.
Right.
In that movie where like everyone is playing like that big. I mean, again, and that's when like William Hurt and Keanu show up as the two cousin hitmen who are also big and goofy and cartoony.
I guess,
and
right.
and to me they're on the same wavelength
Yeah.
as Kevin Kline. And so
Right.
I think his performance works. I think the movie doesn't entirely come together, and the movie isn't all on the same wavelength as him, but I think he is aiming for a specific thing and succeeding at it. And this is my general rule with performances. If I enjoy watching it, then I deem it to be successful.
I agree.
It's like Tom Hardy in Venom. Bad
Yeah.
movie. His accent, which sounds like he's simultaneously from all 5 boroughs of New York, it does not resemble any kind of like real accent. But I was so interested and entertained watching him in this movie that I'm like, you know what? I think he succeeded because I had a good time, and I think that's what he was aiming for.
Yeah,
Fair point.
the weakest points for me were, I mean, and again, like Tracy Ullman, amazing actress.
Great
River
actress,
Pheonix,
great actress.
obviously regarded as like one of the best actors, like
Right.
such a horrible, like, truncation of like, is that a word? Of
Yes.
like a career.
And
Because
like so much promise because he was so talented.
Died
at
at
such a young
age 23. Like incredibly tragic.
And
Yeah.
this is his first on-screen teaming with Keanu.
Yes.
And
It
they
is.
became friends when he was visiting the set of Parenthood.
Yes, they did become friends
which is
on
wild.
Parenthood.
But
yeah.
to me, the weakest point, because the mom is also playing extremely broad.
Yeah.
So like she works, but yeah, the tonal inconsistency happens with Tracy Ullman, and I think with River Phoenix's character Devo.
I think unfortunately I do think I agree with you. I think River Phoenix is a particularly
Tracy Ullman-
sore thumb to this movie.
He has,
Yeah.
or Tracy Ullman, she has like such she has a kind of weird position to be in where she has to be like maniacally devoted to her husband, then convinced that it's a good idea to kill him once
Right.
she sort of sells the heartbreak of seeing him cheat.
She's obsessed with him and cannot comprehend the idea of Joey Boca cheating on her until she finally witnesses it herself.
So
even though River Phoenix's character Devo is constantly trying to warn her, because he's very well aware that Joey Boca is going upstairs in the big
Because he's also
apartment
a
building
landlord.
complex, because he's a landlord, and cheating on his own wife very consistently with almost everybody in the building that is a single woman.
But Devo
essentially,
is supposed to be in love with Rosalie,
which I didn't buy.
what that was not sold to me, and that's
Yeah.
a big part
Yeah.
of like why anything would work, and so that's a huge weak point. Devo could be a cool character, but River Phoenix brings this almost like intensity and like weird performance that like
He's also pretty like naturalistic.
yeah.
In a movie again where he's playing against like Kevin Kline, who is a cartoon character.
Right.
And
Yeah.
this is why I feel like this is the kind of thing that the Coen brothers know how to make work, where they'll fill a cast out with like all of this like big assortment of all wacky people.
Yeah.
You look at
Yeah.
like Raising Arizona, and also, and again, that's a thing where I feel like Tracy Ullman in this movie should be more like Holly Hunter
Yeah.
in Raising Arizona, should have that sort of like really super like tightly coiled Holly Hunter intensity.
Yes.
Which is really funny when she like talks like a mile a minute.
I need that baby high. I need that baby.
Yeah. and I think that's more what this needed. No like nothing wrong with like what Tracy Ullman was doing. I think the material wasn't there for her. And
Right.
similarly, but like you look at Raising Arizona and like how every other character, like when John Goodman shows up, like every little character is this other type of like really well defined big
Yeah.
wacky character. And in this movie, you have like maybe 3 or 4 wacky characters, and then some people who just like seem kind of bland in comparison.
Too grounded, because like Raising Arizona is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
It's a perfect film.
It's just such a perfect movie, and like consequently too, though, you'd think everyone's really swinging for the fences performance wise.
Yeah, that's
but,
true.
But
yeah.
it somehow therefore is a far more human and relatable film than you would expect for people that are somewhat cartoonish. Whereas in this movie, it feels a little bit like it fizzles out or is indecisive and doesn't really have the emotional impact you would expect.
I think the movie needed to be drawn into a Raising Arizona-esque level performance on every actor's part, and it didn't reach that level. There were a lot of actors, Tracy Ullman in particular, who's great, but doesn't understand like the comedic aspect of the script nearly as well as, say, Kevin Kline. My problem is that
No, I
Kevin
think Tracy
Kline, who
Ullman-
does understand the comedic level of the script, also fails in that he like has a very, very hard time holding like a consistency with his broad character.
I think your issue is just his accent.
I don't like his accent. Yeah, that's true.
See, when he talked, I laughed. It was very simple.
It was an incredibly simple addition sort of equation for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will say, I think part of this is that like, with the script, it's also just, the script is not as funny as it could be. And also there's a
Okay,
thing
yeah.
of like Lawrence Kasdan shooting it not really like a comedy. I do think if, at this point I'm wondering if we're just being like, change the entire movie. But you know how like Raising Arizona is shot with like very wide angle lenses and this like very
Yes.
exaggerated like, cartoony style. And I do wonder if shooting this similarly would enhance it. Especially those sequences where like the hitmen come in and then you've got them like trying to figure out like how to shoot this guy who's already unconscious in a bed while the grandmother is downstairs trying to pick what record to put on to have music drown out the
while
gunshot.
they chown out Reggie Jackson's voice or name, and they're like, I think they want us to play reggae to drown out the murder.
Yeah, they're talking about Reggie Jackson. They hear Reggie.
I get really into baseball.
Reggie.
I mean, I boil it down to, this was a point I was going to make anyway, but like, yeah, I was going to boil it down to, I think for Tracy Ullman, I think the script wasn't written in a way that would allow her to like utilize like the full broad comedic thing, because I think she has to play one of the people who's like has qualms and therefore doesn't get to go like super broad. Like she has to always be a little bit reticent, and that makes her too grounded in a lot of ways. And so she could have been written more obsessive for her husband, and then like more passionate in this like kind of way.
Yeah.
So I think for her it was like a writing issue. I think for River Phoenix, I think he was cast wrong and was written wrong. So like River Phoenix is super naturalistic and has this like smoldering intensity because he's like a very handsome, intense kid.
Yeah.
And like what he's supposed to be, and this fits better for the Pacific Northwest, is he's like a sort of crunchy hippie guy who
Right.
knows
Yeah.
a bunch of like weird, like scuzzy figures from like, you know, the just sort of like poor hippie counterculture sort of fringes of this town.
Right, and yet works at a pizzeria in Tacoma, Washington.
Right. And
under
like
Joey Boca's.
his love for Rosalie
Yeah.
should also be like more like over the top, like Rosalie, you're such an amazing, you know what I mean?
You know
Yeah,
what, guys,
there's
I'm gonna throw out a casting shuffle here.
Yeah.
I think if you took goofy, sincere, bouncy Keanu
Yes.
and put him in the Devo role, where River Phoenix is, and have him be like, "Oh, Rosalie, I think you're so awesome. I would do anything for you. Like, yeah, sure. I'll shoot your husband.
Whatever you want.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Whoa, I mean, I've never done it before, but sure. Like, I can
yeah.
see Keanu, especially this era of Keanu, really working in that role and selling that and going bigger with it.
And River Phoenix playing the doped out character that
Because
Keanu
he already
plays in
seems
the
like
movie.
he's I
Yeah.
mean, maybe
As
he
working
is
a little
actually
better.
on drug. I mean, you know, what did he OD on?
He OD'd. The coroner found, I think, morphine and cocaine simultaneously in River
speedball?
Phoenix's blood. Yeah, when he was dead, he died at age 23.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Very
So,
sad. Also,
he
Very
has that
sad.
look.
listeners, don't
Do drugs.
don't do those drugs.
Don't
He
do
has
that.
that drugged out quality though, and it might be real. It might be like he literally maybe was, but
It very
like,
well might be, because he dies not too many years after this movie comes out. You know.
yeah.
I don't know what kind of lifestyle he was dragged into, but
But aside from the like real life tragedy of River Phoenix, I agree with you, Pat, that the swap would work, but it is at the expense of my enjoyment of Keanu playing this character, because like
Keanu's very fun.
He actually, like, for me, you know, if you are unaware, if you had seen this movie, you know, as it, like living in that present day with no understanding of like where his career would go, it is at once not quite a huge departure, but also like he's different. He looks dirty and fucking shady.
I think this
And,
is
like,
one of the
he
most
works.
interesting roles that Keanu's had.
His hair is clearly like self-cut. Like
Yeah.
there's just like random shaved patches. He's got a kind of like, I mean, him and William Hurt, who again, amazing actor. I love him. There's
Yeah.
something like indescribably watchable to me about William Hurt. He has this quality that it's just like fascinating to watch him do anything.
Yes.
They both play drug addicts, which again is very much more of a sort of Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Tacoma thing, where like the painkiller heroin shit was in the 90s or like the early 90s was going on like a lot more intensely.
And let's just clear up too before you go. Like, I don't know if we've fully described who Keanu and William Hurt play. Tracy Ullman decides, after finding out that her husband is a serial philanderer and cheater, decides alongside her mother to kill.
Should we describe
Kevin
the
Kline.
methods of
It's mostly
attempted murder?
her mother's idea, right?
It's her mother's idea because her and Kevin Kline's character Joey Boca have never gotten along. But Tracy Ullman follows along with her, and what they do is
Also,
enlist,
her mother is an immigrant who lives with them. In the
lives
house.
with them free of charge in the building that Kevin Kline is the super of, essentially.
No,
And,
it's their home. He owns other buildings outside of.
Yeah, she lives with them in their house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kevin
The
Kline is
apartment
very,
building
very
is like
resentful of her.
over the pizzeria.
Right. So, anyways, she finds out that Kevin Kline is cheating on her.
Doesn't she try to kill herself?
It seems like she did.
She take a lot of pills.
But then that is awkward, isn't it? Because then it just cuts to her the next day.
She finds out Kevin Kline is cheating on her at the library, sees him smooching this young gal through a bookshelf.
Oh, she has a
And
very
then
hilarious line though.
She runs into her bathroom and takes what seems like a large amount of aspirin or
Yeah.
Advil, maybe.
Aspirin.
Not enough though to.
Wait, is it just the sleeping pills that come up later?
I
don't
thought
know
it
if it
might
was
have
sleeping
been,
pills,
but like
but-
I thought I saw a label on them when she was taking them.
She takes a lot of these pills, and I think it's left to be unclear whether or not she's trying to kill herself or just calm herself down. But
It is weird though because the line that
they
I thought
linger
was,
on that scene a little bit.
the line that I thought was really funny was when Devo is confronting her when she's like still very much unable to imagine this eventuality.
Yeah, River Pheonix is trying to convince her. He tells her before she even finds out the actual evidence that Kevin Kline is cheating on her. He's like, your husband is a piece of shit. He's
Right.
going upstairs under the auspices of that he's fixing your tenant's plumbing.
Right.
When in reality, what he's doing is just fucking a bunch of women.
He's fixing the
that
pipes.
live in your. He's
Well,
fixing their
get
pipes.
it? Get it, Jake?
Yeah.
He's laying down pipe.
No, I get it. He's fixing their pipes. Take the metaphor as you will. He's fixing their vaginal pipes.
Also, at one point, Heather Graham shows up.
Yeah,
Okay.
what is the Heather
All
Graham
right.
thing about?
Heather Graham is in this movie.
Before she was famous at all.
Was the insinuation that she also was having sex with Joey or had sex with him once?
Well,
very
there-
unclear.
There's the one scene.
And we think maybe she's going to be like Devo's love interest because
or at least
Rosalie,
some kind of larger
just
character.
something. Because
She's literally
Rosalie's
in
like
one
Devo. Before Heather Graham even comes into the scene, Rosalie's like, Devo, I get it. You have a crush on me, but it's cute. But like, I'm like way older and I'm married. Like, so like, just chill, man. You'll find a nice girl your age and it'll be fine. And then, bam, immediately Heather Graham is in the scene.
Yeah,
But then also, he clearly is not interested.
Well, no, he's kind of making eyes at her. Like, you think maybe.
I got the vibe that like he just like that clearly Rosalie like wanted to like hey like meet Devo, and he just did not seem excited about
and
it.
It is something that could be entirely excised from the movie.
Oh
well,
my
it's
god!
weird
Yeah,
because
just chop it out.
Well, I will say,
Heather Graham.
For instance, I like the scene where Joey just goes out and he goes to the club, and you see his
MO kind of.
yeah. Like honestly, his ability to just like and his strategies for just like meeting women at the bar and convincing them to ditch the dude they came there with.
He's got this amazing sort of like, I mean, it would never work in real life with any like semi like intelligent human being. Like,
I don't know. I mean, Matt, did you see his mustache?
His mustache, that's flavor saver. His mustache is like
Full of semen.
He does. He does. Full of piss. He does do this like great sort of the Pua moves where he's like kind of like, yo, who's that zero you walked in with?
He meets this young girl at a bar, and he's like, "Are you here alone?" And she's like, "No, I'm actually here with this guy." And he looks over at the guy that she says she's here with, and he goes, "That guy is like, I cannot believe a beautiful woman like you would be with such a man as this." And she's like, by the way, fun fact, that woman in that scene is Kevin Kline's real life wife.
Phoebe Cates.
Phoebe Cates, yes.
As
that's
in-
wild.
And
yes,
he actually
as in,
specifically
like,
requested she be in the movie.
Yeah. As in, like, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Phoebe Cates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, oh, damn, I knew I recognized her.
So we get this scene where Kevin Kline is at the dance club just egregiously cheating on his wife.
But then we also get him.
I am going to the club. I don't need to deal with this. I'm trying to cheat on you. I'm going to the club.
But then we also get him dancing.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
good.
Which is
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, he's a good
Wait,
dancer.
what's the song playing again?
Ring My Bell.
Oh yeah.
Ring my bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, ring the
Oh yeah,
bell
and
is a
they've got a Hall &
metaphor.
Oates playing there as well, right?
Yeah. What I want you got flames.
Speaking of
burns
which,
the
right?
candle.
We talked about Hall Notes earlier.
Hell yeah.
We even if we don't try, we weave in previous information.
Amazing.
You make a dream.
But the reason I bring up that scene is because that kind of gives you an idea of just like what he's doing nightly. And so presumably he met Heather Graham in a similar way.
Right.
And then was just like, oh, you're looking for an apartment? I manage a building. Come on in.
Yeah.
And so, but it is funny that she never comes back.
Yeah.
She's just there, and you think, and he's like, oh no, I can't just show you right now.
Yeah, it's
Come back
introduced.
tomorrow.
It's
I guess-
introduced in this way that, like, by any normal film kind of standards, would necessitate a further complication of anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was weird because it's like,
all the film language communicated that she was to return.
and this is also before Heather Graham became well known. Like this is pre
Yeah, she's
Heather
little
Graham
baby
being
Heather
like
Graham.
a well known.
Pre Roller Girl.
Yeah.
Pre Spy Who Shagged Me.
pre Boogie Nights.
Yeah, pre The Hangover.
So Heather Graham pre Austin Powers 2.
Yeah.
Yes,
The Spy Who Shagged
That's
Me.
what
it is in
Pat
fact
just said.
almost 20
sorry.
years pre Hangover.
Yeah. So, anyways, she's not like a well-known or famous actress, so it's just very
Wait, did I
odd
ever-
seeing her in this scene.
Have I ever
And-
told the story about the time that Heather Graham made fun of my friend's shirt at a party?
No, but
No.
what was the shirt?
Heather Graham didn't like your friend's shirt.
It's our mutual friend Pat
Okay.
Oh.
from high school.
Okay.
This was at San Diego Comic-Con, I believe in 2015.
Yeah.
My friend Pat, who's a good guy,
Love Pat.
was wearing a purple dress shirt, I believe from Express. It was a nice, clean
I know
shirt.
exactly the shirt.
Yeah, but he was wearing a T-shirt underneath it, so you could see like the T-shirt collar.
Yeah.
Anyway,
now
our
it's
group of friends
stupid.
were all ribbing him and joshing him
Some
about
mean
his
friends.
about his shirt. Well, because the previous year he had like always underdressed, and then he finally brought a nice shirt, but then he still wore this like
He somehow failed.
he still wore like a space camp T-shirt underneath it.
Yeah, he just didn't get it.
Anyway. At one point,
Pat, you a goofy.
Yeah.
Okay.
At one point, he goes to like get a drink, and then at the same party, because it's Comic-Con, and there's just like Heather Graham walks by him and just says, unprompted, "By the way, you shouldn't wear that shirt with that T-shirt."
Damn. Heather Graham.
Heather Graham just
Wow.
just roasting other.
First
Patrick.
off, okay, look, Pat, I love you. You may very well have worn a shirt that did not work well with the button-down shirt you wore over it. But also, Heather Graham, let me say this about you. You walked past a stranger that you didn't know and just called them out for their shirt. You're a little bit of an asshole.
No. What if she was negging him and it was a flirtatious move? And Pat didn't pick up on it.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Honestly, my favorite thing about it was at the time Pat did not recognize her, and so
Oh my God.
she said this to him, and he went, thanks, and then walked away.
Oh my God.
And then
Thanks.
comes back and tells us about this. He's like, yes, this woman over there just like dissed my shirt. And then a few minutes later, I pointed out,
That's
I was
Roller
like,
Girl.
oh look, Heather Graham's over there, and he goes, what? That's the woman who dissed my shirt.
Oh my god.
I
was
hate her.
Delightful.
That's funny.
frustrating to hear.
That is funny.
Yeah, I mean, I laughed so hard. I honestly, I haven't stopped laughing about it for 4 years. I will just bring
Hey,
up.
that's the woman, this is like crazy lady who dissed my shirt. It's Heather Graham
It's Heather Graham from The Spy Who Shagged
from
Me.
The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yeah, what if she was negging him? Whoa.
It feels like she was.
What if Pat could have been the Joey Boca to her Heather Graham?
Yeah, little teeny tiny Pat.
Does Pat listen to this podcast?
Joey Boca.
Yo, Pat, I love you, man. You're short.
But honestly, not that short.
You're a manlet.
Anyway,
Neither of you guys are comfortable with this?
this is a long way of saying Heather Graham is in this film.
Yeah,
So Heather Graham is in the
Heather Graham
movie-
was in this film for one scene.
Two.
Before she was famous.
She seems like she should be more important. That's the point. It's like
Yeah.
a weird way to introduce somebody who
She's
is
like a
just
red herring.
throwaway. Even because the person who Joey Boca is kind of like seeing when he's quote unquote plumbing is even comes back, at the very end of the movie.
She's in multiple scenes.
Yeah.
She's like the
That's
recurring fling.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. His main squeeze in the apartment building. If you
But
will.
so there are 4 attempts on his life And like I said, he's the Italian Rasputin.
Yeah.
He refuses
will not
to die. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I do love about it is how one of the attempts on his life prevents the other ones.
Yeah, the first attempt on his life essentially saves his life.
Nope. The first one is when
You're right.
Rosalie's mother hires some guy to assault him with a baseball bat.
Yes,
Well, to just
and
kill
he-
him, and he chooses to use the bat.
He chooses to use the bat, and then he
He's out.
jumps out of a bush to attack Kevin Kline.
Like right in front of his house.
Right in front of his house. Kevin Kline just immediately
Bests him.
like wrestles the bat away from striking his own head, and then the guy freaks out, panics, and runs away and jumps over a
And
fence.
says wrong house.
And he's like, "Oh my God, this is the wrong house. I'm sorry." Kevin Kline's like, "Oh my God, that was crazy." And then he just goes back inside, and he's like,
Baby.
"Somebody tried to bash on my head."
Where's my pasta and my pepperoni?
Every time we talk about his voice, I like it more. I'm more like good accents.
We're doing a better accent than he
Then Kevin
did,
Kline
yeah.
is. Yeah, this is why
And I'm not even.
don't
I'm
like
not
his
even
accent.
afraid to say such a thing. But if
Okay.
I could do it, I would do it better. I would do it all the time.
Well, except Matt, every so often you say a word and you just become Borat.
My wife.
When you say better,
Better.
This accent, it reminded me. I don't know if either of you guys have watched Broad City. I still think of this scene that makes me laugh so hard. There's a scene when Abby and Alana are having like brunch together or something.
Oh, I know.
And
Yeah.
and she's doing like, "Oh my God, I love hearing people talk like in Italian or something in New York City. It just reminds me of being in Europe." And it's this Italian couple next to them. And she's like, "It's just, I hear it and the cadence is beautiful." Like, and like Abby is laughing and she's like, "Oh, do a German accent and do an Australian accent." And Alana's like laughing and doing all these accents, and then finally Abby goes like, "Oh, do a Chinese accent." And she's like, "Oh my God, why would I do a Chinese accent? It's 2016." That's incredibly racist. So I always think about that Broad City sketch, and I was like thinking about that especially watching this movie. I was like, we are gonna do Italian accents in this episode.
Good. I'm gonna do it as until it's not allowed. I'm doing the couples that I can
Also,
do.
And I was just like, shout out to Broad City
he's
for
just
also
talking like Mario, and we're just doing Mario impressions.
we're doing
Yes.
Mario. It's
if anyone's
free.
getting mad, just know.
It's Mario.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. That is just wink, wink. Mario.
It's a wanka wanka Mario.
It's a me, Matthew.
Yeah,
I love the
Matthew.
spaghetti and the meatball and the ravioli. I love to put the parmesan cheese in the mozzarella.
So cartoonish.
Yeah, who's laughing though?
Well, you know what?
I'm laughing.
I'm laughing.
Guys, you're peeking on the microphones.
Sorry, we're having fun on the podcast.
I'm trying to pour myself more rosé.
I'm trying to put my rosé in this stem with a glass.
This movie is so stupid.
So the second murder attempt
Is the sleeping pills
So, okay. So she tries
in tomato sauce?
Okay. Rosalie tries to kill her husband by hiring a guy to beat him to death with a baseball bat. It fails. It fails. Lol. It fails. Then she, with her mother, decides to put a ton of sleeping pills in a spicy gravy that they make.
Wait, gravy?
Gravy.
Well, that's
which,
what
by the
that's
way,
what you
is
call
the,
pasta
is,
sauce.
is what you call pasta sauce. Yeah.
I'm not Italian.
Yeah.
I don't know these things.
And I'm not
And
either.
we're Irish as well.
I'm not an authentic Italian man like you two here.
So they put sleeping pills in his gravy on his spaghetti, and then Kevin Kline eats it. He eats like eight bowls.
so
He eats 8 bowls of spaghetti and like does.
Oh God, this is falling
Kevin
apart.
Kline eats 8 bowls of spaghetti and does not pass out. Like
And they
what
put
was
and
intended.
they're like heaping the sauce on
Yeah.
there.
Heaping. Yeah,
It's
big,
drowned in sauce.
deep bowls, if you will.
It looks
And-
to me disgusting.
Yeah,
as someone who hates tomato sauce.
Okay,
He's
that
getting
is
it
true.
all
Pat,
over
Pat
his-
hates tomato sauce.
He's getting it all over his white wife beater shirt that he's wearing, over his hairy chest of curly black hair.
he gets a lot of sauce on his wife beater, which is funny.
Yeah.
And he does not pass out. So there's this long sequence of, you know, Tracy Ullman and her mother both trying to feed him multiple bowls of spaghetti with sleeping pills in it, and she will
Which,
not fall
first of all,
asleep.
also grind
He will
it
not
up.
fall asleep. Yeah. Well,
They
they
just
don't
put
grind
the
up
hard pills in the sauce. There's no way that's gonna melt.
with the assumption that it will melt into the sauce.
You've got to like mortar and pestle that shit.
Yeah, I
Pour
agree.
the powder into the sauce. It's the only way it's gonna work.
But honestly, I found those scenes kind of funny because Kevin Kline keeps eating the bowls of spaghetti.
was
And
like-
then he's
it's
like,
funny.
he's like sitting out with them on the porch and like chatting about how beautiful the weather is. And then he's like challenging them to games of Monopoly.
And they're like, you're
"We're
supposed to
playing
die.
Monopoly."
Yeah, and Tracy Ullman and her mom are like, you should be unconscious right now.
But that's
You
the
should
part
be
where
dead.
it's so funny because like he's just he's eating
Doing the
30
playing game
bowls
of
of
Monopoly.
spaghetti.
Yeah.
He's eating so much sauce. He's eaten like 3 bottles worth of sleeping pills to kill him.
Right. Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, I took a big crap and I feel great.
He
And
does
his- and
poop
then-
and then feel better.
Tracy Ullman is like, Mom, I told you, he's like not human. His appetites.
That's
He's like
true.
some sort of animal, some
Yes.
sort of beast.
Joey Boca. But
Which
Which
is
is
essentially
everything
her
her
calling
calling
Boca.
Italians like animals.
Yeah, I mean, there's the characters within the movie are even stereotyping, the Italian.
But he does
Caricature.
finally pass out.
He does finally
does,
pass out.
yeah,
He falls
and it-
asleep.
and
Kind of.
Yeah.
Not 100%.
It takes a
so,
bullet to the head for him to actually.
So yeah, he passes out, and then they're like, he's still alive. He's just sleeping now.
wait, when
so-
did hold on? We missed one. When did they do the ignition shit?
What do you mean the ignition shit?
The car ignition to blow up the car.
That's earlier.
Oh,
in the movie.
right.
You're right. They try to explode him in a car.
The
mother
baseball bat
tries
guy
to
fails.
tries to blow up his car,
Right.
but then tries to stop it because Rosalie gets in the car as well, and then it just fails.
I thought it was just worth saying that also.
Yeah,
That's
you're
true.
right. But that's also, I will say, a thing that I think, in terms of the film, that could have been executed a bit better. In terms of just like,
Yeah.
because it's basically a Looney Tunes gag. But I feel like, honestly, this is the part where I wish you had seen her out there at night, like
I
pretty
agree,
much planting
yeah.
a bomb in the car.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this
That
is
would've
very
been
like
funnier.
Roadrunner Coyote kind of.
It really is.
You might as well be.
It's the Roadrunner Coyote meets Casino. Like she tries to.
Motherfucker.
she tries to blow up her son-in-law, but then her actual daughter, Rosalie,
for, like-
tries to drive home to work with him. So she freaks out. She realizes they're both going to get into the car and
Honestly,
potentially
bad
blow up.
plan on the mother's part.
Yeah,
Well, the
bad
mom is
plan,
very
Mom.
like Eastern Promises. You know,
She is.
she's
She's
like
hardcore.
she's like weirdly handy and like adept at like fixing things and like knowing how things work.
And
She's-
knowing people who can kill people.
She's principled in that it's like the only solution to infidelity is to murder the person who is
like
cheating
zero
on you.
tolerance.
Well,
Yeah,
this is
like
where
one strike and you are out.
well, this is where I feel like
If you do this,
it
you're
is like
dead.
a semi-funny critique of the potential for a very black and white view of the world that very orthodox
Yeah.
Catholicism or Christianity could like create in you, where you're like, you have failed this, therefore you deserve the ultimate punishment, and there's no gray areas.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the one
true.
thing I feel like is like kind of effective in this movie, where these backgrounds where they've sort of culturally been inculcated with like this notion of very black and white morality
Yeah.
affects their very non-amoral or immoral gray human brains in such a way that like they misinterpret how it should be done in practice, so that they're all fucking up.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
all kind of are like worse people for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like,
Literally, when Joey Boca's unconscious and he's kind of waking up, Tracy
Yeah.
Ullman is like feeling a little bit of regret, and she goes to hug him, and her like crucifix necklace falls into his mouth and almost chokes him. And I thought that was like very funny.
that is very funny when she's like feeling regret for, despite the fact that you've been a serial philanderer and a cheater and an overall piece of shit, Kevin Kline. Like, I actually don't know if murdering you is justified. And she
Yeah,
goes to
it's
give him a hug,
not.
and he chokes on the cross
Yeah.
of her own necklace that dips into his mouth as she's hugging him.
Yeah.
It was a very funny scene. I
little
did
funny
like that.
symbolic moment.
Yeah, it made
Yeah.
me laugh. But essentially, Tracy Ullman and her mother, Both try to kill Kevin Kline. It doesn't work. So what happens is they call up Devo.
To be clear, Joey Boca is now unconscious.
He's unconscious. He's like sort of dipping in and out of,
wait.
fully
You're also
unconscious
skipping
versus
ahead a little
chatting.
bit.
Yeah.
Joey Boca is unconscious. He's finally collapsed from the sleeping pills.
Yeah.
Devo has already shot him in the head.
Well, they call Devo over after they get him.
And they're like, Devo, you
drugged
love
out.
Rosalie, right? They're kind of manipulating him.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. First, he's unconscious. Then they get Devo to shoot him.
Yeah.
Right, and he kind of biffs it. He shoots him in the head.
We also don't see it. Like, when this is happening, Devo is alone in the room.
Yeah.
And the scene is with Rosalie and her mom downstairs, and we hear the gunshot.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
they're still unable to like witness the act of killing him. They just want him dead. But it's
Right.
like the classic. That also was funny to me. Their inability to like see it happen,
it's almost it's this thing
Yeah.
where
but believing it's the right thing to do.
but that's it. It's less that they actually want to murder him and like get revenge. It's more that they just believe he should now be dead.
Yes,
it's like
right.
it's almost like God should punish this man because of what he did. He should be dead. I guess we'll make that happen.
But
somehow.
I like that because it's a very like
Yeah.
it's the only again like I'm saying or like I was saying before, I guess like it's the only moment where the hypocrisy of a lot of people who wish to act righteously without acting like is kind of addressed in this indirect way.
Right.
You know, people that are like, this should happen and I truly believe it's right. But I'm not gonna do it. Like that would be disgusting.
Yeah. There's
You
no
know?
way I can personally pull the trigger.
It's
Yeah.
like I have these beliefs and I think they're actionable, but like I'm not gonna
I don't want
do
that
it.
on my conscience.
Yeah.
I don't want blood on my own hands.
Like that was like
Yeah.
the only other really like interesting wrinkle in the movie for me.
So what happens is they call River Pheonix Devo, and they go, "Can you please do this for us?" He shoots,
Blam,
but
right in the
even
head.
blam, but he even looks away as he's firing the gun, and so only proves to just graze Kevin Kline in the side of his own head.
Well, no, he has a bullet in his head if you look at the scans later in the hospital. Like
Yeah,
the bullet. The thing
he
is, it's
somehow
just Joey
shoots
Boca
it.
is just insanely resilient.
Yeah, and
He's
what
just
you
like, I have a
learn-
headache. Oh,
He's
what
like, "Oh, my head
happened?
hurts."
Do I have the flu?
But what you learn is that all of the sleeping pills that Rosalie and her mother
Well, hold on.
fed. Well, I mean, you learn this after Keanu and William Hurt
Well,
come in
let's
too. But
talk
like,
about that.
But I mean,
ultimately, what
it's
you
still
learn
relevant.
though is that the sleeping pills that they fed him before River Pheonix or Keanu and William Hurt shot him, both of which do shoot him.
Threes of which
Threes of which shoot him in the body. So he gets shot multiple times, but you realize that the sleeping pills inadvertently help him in surviving the wounds that he has received because
They
the
slow
sleeping
his
pills
heart.
slow down his heart, thereby slowing down the circulation system.
Right, and
thereby slowing down his blood flow so that he actually ends up not losing as much blood as he could have with the bullet wounds.
It would have
that
been
he
a
suffers
fatal
from.
loss of blood had his
Right.
heart rate been regular.
so guys, this movie is a guide to how to cheat death.
Yeah, you swallow a bunch of sleeping pills and be like, shoot me,
and then
bro.
you're like, you can shoot me twice.
yeah, shoot me 2 times.
Do it 2 times.
And so, River Pheonix shoots him. It lodges into his head, but it somehow fails to kill him.
And he has some
freaks out.
blood like splattered on the pillow.
Blood splattered on the pillow. He freaks out. He's like, I can't do it, man. As much as I love Rosalie, I can't go through with this. So Rosalie and her
Also, I
mother.
will say, if Keanu played the River Phoenix role, he would crush this scene.
He would. Here's the thing, though. I actually love Keanu in the role that he
No,
plays.
that's
I think
the
it's
thing.
one of
He's
the
so
heartbreak-
good
Yeah.
at it.
It's one of the most. I think. Okay, so like, not a lot of people will have seen this movie, and this movie is a very, very weird one, right? But I think
It is also available to rent on like Amazon or
you can get it on Amazon Prime and
iTunes
stuff.
or YouTube, all these places.
Of all the roles I've seen Keanu in so far, he plays sort of Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He plays Ted-esque characters. This, to me, is one of those weird roles where he plays something different and unique. And as Keanu-saurs, which I would like to...
You never. You were saving that.
Were you sitting on that?
As Keanu-saurs, which I would like to think
Damn,
the three of us
dude.
are at
Dude,
this
that's
point.
fucking Jake.
We...
Just nice, dude. That's great.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, we will be using that
As
henceforth.
Keanu soars, I think that this is a very, very interesting role to witness because he plays something very, very strange and something very, very different when he does this role. He plays somebody that seems perpetually on, if not high, then like on morphine.
They're heroin
on
addicts.
heroin.
Jake. They're heroin addicts. They're
Sure.
in the Pacific Northwest. They're heroin addicts.
He's doing something very, very unique compared to any other role he's done up until this role. And so, like, I wouldn't recommend this movie overall, but if you are a fan of Keanu Reeves and you're looking to get some different vibe out of any other characters that he's played, this is a really interesting movie to watch because he plays this guy that's essentially perpetually on heroin, and he plays the role like that. He's like, the way I was thinking about it was, if you've been following our podcast and you've already watched The Prince of Pennsylvania, which, by the way, is a movie nobody else has seen.
right.
He's like what that character would have developed into, 10 years down the road.
Or potentially more likely River's Edge.
River's Edge, right. Like
Yeah.
this guguy that's so...
Because Southern California or Northern California.
So out of his own mind at this point that like he almost can't function
And he's
properly.
acting alongside William Hurt, which I think is important.
And they both
like,
work
Also,
so well together.
William Hurt also playing a very different role than he usually does.
Yeah, William Hurt is also, he's got long, weird, stringy hair.
Yeah.
He looks like a Vietnam vet, kind of.
You would not normally think of Keanu and William Hurt as playing anyone related to each other in a movie.
I think this movie, generally speaking, is bad, and it fails in what it's trying to do. But I think Keanu, if we're doing a podcast about Keanu Reeves, I think this is a very, very interesting role to watch him in.
Yeah,
I think this
agree.
is if you're looking to just watch, strange, underrated performances by Keanu, I think this is one of like the most interesting movies to go check out.
Yeah.
He basically has the Prince of Pennsylvania haircut, except with half his hair shaved off.
Yeah. I will say
and
he-
like deep, dark bags under his eyes.
He looks great. I mean, he looks
Yeah.
so like, more so than William Hurt. He
Yeah.
looks like somebody who is on heroin. Like it's played for laughs, which is its own kind of dark comedy. I appreciate it. Like, I really, as if it was emphasized more that it was taking place in the Pacific Northwest, it would
Yeah.
hit even harder because that was like a big problem. But like,
That's true.
I think if you're doing a dark comedy, it is funny to cast sort of opiate junkies coming in to try and kill somebody and just being so fucking brain dead and spaced out and like
Also, like, they've never killed anybody.
Right. Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
And a big part of this, like, the scene with them, because, like, everyone else, like, leaves the bedroom and lets them just stay there to figure it out. And they are trying to figure out which side of the human body the heart is on.
he's like, it's the Pledge of Allegiance side.
Yeah. And
it's really
and
good.
they still get it wrong and shoot him on
Yeah.
the wrong side. But I will say, Keanu has the line that I think made me laugh the hardest in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which is when they see the baseball bat there and they start talking, and it's like, I don't know, it's like a Reggie Jackson
Yes.
edition
Yeah.
or whatever. They're talking about, they're doing like the Reggie chant. At one
Yeah.
point, William Hurt says, "How many homers did he hit?" And Keanu is like thinking really hard, and he goes, "Fuck. Shit. A bunch."
I don't know, but like a bunch.
But just like his confidence, just saying a bunch. It's just a person clearly stoned out of their mind. And
I forgot to bring up the Tracy Ullman line that I really liked as well from earlier, which is before she like maybe tries to kill herself with the aspirin or the sleeping pills, is like Devo's like, well, like, what are you gonna do if you're wrong and he is cheating? And she's like, I love him. I'll probably kill myself. And
Yeah,
but then she's like, and if that doesn't make me feel any better, I'll kill him. I love that line. I think it's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, all of the characters, including the ones that are justified in their feelings, like Tracy Ullman, who is betrayed by her husband's philandering,
She's justified in her feelings, but not in her actions.
Right, like her actions are equally extreme. She's like, obviously, oh, you cheat on me? The only proper response is to murder you.
Right.
Is
And
to
her mom
kill
is
you.
so keen on like immediately on doing it too. She's like, "Oh baby, we'll kill him.
Yeah.
We'll kill your shitty husband."
So what basically then happens is they do shoot Joey Boca on the wrong side of his body, and they think it's done.
In the chest, essentially.
And then Joey gets up and comes downstairs. And he's still not dead. And then what basically ends up happening is, and here's the thing, I wish we actually got to see more of this. So William Hurt and Keanu.
Their names are like Hartley and Bartley or something.
No. They're Harlan and Marlon.
That's great.
Harlan and Marlon, after they'd been hired, before they'd even been paid or done the job, started just talking about it in bars.
Yeah.
And then a guy who got picked up by the cops mentioned it.
As part of like a plea deal or
because
something.
there's these two cops that are regulars at the pizzeria that Joey Boca knows. And this guy mentions it to the cops, and then they come to the house to investigate, and that's what leads to everyone getting arrested.
Yes.
And I kind of wish we'd had a montage of these two overeager drug addicts, very excited that they got hired to kill someone, just going around to all the different bars and just bragging about how they were going to be like hitmen.
Right.
That's I feel like that could have been, especially for like Keanu stuff, like a really funny scene that we just didn't see.
Like you just saw that intercut until they get picked up for the bragging. Meanwhile, like they are already like criminally like cross investigating like the mom and the wife and stuff.
Yep.
That would be great. Yeah.
But yeah, and then
I agree.
Then basically we have this section where Joey Boca goes to the hospital and recovers, and then has this.
His mom comes. You've never seen her before. It's kind of weird that she arrives.
Yes.
But she does the wonderful Italian move of whacking him in the head. He's like, Mom, I got a bullet in there. And she's like, you should have 2, 3, 4, 5 bullets in your head.
That's
you
what
need
you
to
get
go
for
apologize.
cheating on your wife.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she has the same value system as everyone else.
Right.
Yeah,
Where she's,
I mean-
but I love it because she's like whacks him in the head a bunch, and then he's like, ow, the bullet. And she's like, oh, my sweet baby. Are you
I love
hurting?
you.
I love you. Yeah.
She loves her babies as much as she resents him for doing something that if she
Breaking
was
his-
in the
the
same
sacrament of
experience.
marriage.
Yeah, exactly. So she smacks her son in the head multiple times while he's sitting in a hospital.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do.
It would have only been funnier if she had a big wooden spoon.
Yeah, exactly. Just brought it to the hospital casually, just in case she needs to use
Maybe
it.
you need a big whack in the head.
Yeah,
But then he-
smack at you.
But then he vows to like change his ways.
Yeah, and what's interesting
he
is
turns
that-
like that woman, that his mistress, his maiden mistress, let's say, shows up at the hospital, and he's like, "No, you should leave."
Yeah,
You know what my question is?
What?
One of the theories I have is, what if the shot to his head was essentially a frontal lobotomy? And so he's
Honestly,
actually
not a bad idea.
He's actually he's been cured, but in the like old way where they used to chop the front of your frontal cortex off or whatever.
Do you remember that, like, it was like
Phineas Gage?
Phineas Gage, the Psych 101 course,
where
the
the
man who got, like, the railroad's,
Spike.
spike shot up through his lower
chin.
jaw and out the top of his head. And he was, like, at one point, this very friendly and agreeable guy who then turned into this piece of shit, like,
aggressive, mean,
quick to anger, dude. Phineas Gage, the man who basically got like 20% of his brain, removed, and then became like an angry man as a
Lived.
result. Did not suffer any particular like fine motor skill damage, but had a very, very definitive personality change as a
Yeah.
result of the brain damage he received.
So that's my theory about Joey Boca.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's
He's
a pretty
Phineas
good theory.
Gage
But
character.
then he bails all of his attempted murderers out of jail.
Right. This is pretty crazy, huh? Maybe like somebody who got a frontal lobotomy.
Yeah, I mean, I did like this part of the movie. I appreciated the thought, which was just like,
Well, this is where is this going to go grim, or is this going to be undercut by a sort of hope or a glimmer of hope in humanity?
you spend 80% of the movie watching this, this guy just fuck around and cheat on his wife, and then a bunch of different characters throughout the movie, but all try to like collectively figure out how to murder him without getting caught, and they fail. He survives, comes back, and then essentially forgives everybody that tried to murder him because he realizes that he
appreciative.
was a piece of shit.
Right. I feel
And
like
he
this is
realizes that he deserved what he got in some weird way.
Yeah.
And it reaffirmed his own love for his wife and the fact that
Well,
he's
he's so Italian. that he needed a confirmation of a sort of fiery, spicy sausage, a sort of love for him.
I mean,
He needed
Yeah.
And I feel like this is also kind of consistent with how he always was.
Right.
Because he was always a guy who made friends with everybody and liked everybody and is friendly to everybody.
Yes,
And
that's
so,
true.
and like, he loves all the women, which is a problem. But
Yeah.
but he also, you can see him being like, I get why they were trying to kill me. Like, sure, yeah, I
Right.
fucked around. I was kind of a bad guy.
Another act of passion is nothing
Yeah.
but like an understandable move for him.
Right.
Yeah,
But it's just
that's
funny,
true.
like, he doesn't even like really know the hitmen, but
No.
he bails them out of jail.
And not only that, but the hitman don't know him.
Right.
Like they
Don't like
They
Keanu does
all-
not remember who he is.
he's like, wait a minute.
And the weakest part
Who
of
are you?
this whole thing to me still is also like his children, who are like
They're like non-entities.
they're just like placeholder. They're just like these pieces that get shuffled into a scene,
That's
largely
true.
to like create highly empathetic small moments, like in the movie Parenthood, kind of, where like he's being sweet with his children, to I think interject some kind of humanity into him before they like before he's just completely just like relegated to this like realm of being a cartoon Italian. But like I found it upset me more than not, because like, he was a piece of shit and a philanderer. He cheated. He was a bad guy. But they kept doing these moments where he was like a fairly dedicated dad who was
Yeah.
like highly devoted and aware of his children and like wrongly or rightly trying to affect their perception of the world and their development.
Yeah.
And was engaged in that way. And it was weird. And then
It was
they're
weird.
just
I agree.
gone for like the entire murder caper, which they should have been at home for the whole time.
It's like a missed opportunity. Like-
Completely traumatized.
Yeah, where
just
are they?
screaming, just
Where
like
is children?
Dad's covered in blood. Just like they should have been just like fucked. I don't know where they were, and then they just conveniently appear when everyone's better and he's forgiven them and they're all in the jail.
But like, imagine the comedic possibilities with like Keanu and William Hurt, like
and
encountering the kids.
those kids, yeah.
I agree.
That
would've been very
that
funny.
felt like the weakest. That felt like the most egregious example of like, more so even than Heather Graham, which was pretty bad. Of like these
To be fair,
characters
Heather
that like,
Graham's not famous when this movie comes out.
no,
so
not. But I don't even mean
yeah.
in terms of her
Just that
relative
character.
fame, just
like,
in terms
why is she there?
Yeah, why is she
yeah,
there? I
her
agree.
importance to the people involved in this reality.
Was that like a
Right.
weird deleted subplot?
Yeah,
feels
that should have
like
gotten
one.
removed from the movie.
But his
I
kids is
agree.
like unacceptable to me.
Honestly, what I feel about this is
Yeah.
is that, especially with things like Heather Graham showing up and not returning, and the kids not really being utilized,
yeah,
they could have built a big sort of like screwball comedy like climax with all these people showing up at the house and the murder trying to happen and them trying to drown out the,
Yeah.
the
Right.
murder with the sound of music and stuff like that. But then for some reason, like, Heather Graham showed up at the house and he had told her to stop by, and then the kids are there, and then like maybe the kids' friends come over or something like that, and,
Yeah.
and while they're trying to also stage a murder, and then there's these weird drug addicts just like in the house who
But
like
then Joey Boca doesn't die, and he keeps waking up and walking downstairs just with blood pouring out of him, and everyone's like, ah, and they're like, Mommy, what's going on with Daddy? And she's like, he's fine, it's tomato sauce. It's gravy. And he's like, I have the flu, children, don't worry.
all the
puking
pieces
blood.
are there
Yeah.
for that, and so it's kind of surprising that they didn't go with it that way. But also, it seemed like they were almost outside of like a couple of performances. They were almost afraid to go as like big and wacky as I felt like it like wanted to.
It got
It
so it
should've.
could have been like Weekend at Bernie's almost.
Yeah,
like,
I-
just like
I-
that level of absurdity.
I agree with you that I think is the fundamental problem with the movie is that it's based on a real life story. So I think that the filmmakers wanted to pay some sort of due to.
How do you think the real guy felt about Kevin Kline's performance?
I know, right? That's what I was thinking about the whole time. I was like, look, this is based on a real
Yeah,
situation.
I wonder if they had a
the
reaction.
guy survived. His wife tried to kill him. She was released from jail. Like,
And I can
when
almost
they watch
guarantee you
I Love You to Death.
it wasn't as funny to them. I can almost guarantee you that they didn't have as much hilarious fun with it as they did.
That's what
in
I
the
mean.
movie.
Like, this is based off a situation that, people tried to commit an actual murder, and it was not funny to them. This was like a serious situation. this story gets publicized in a newspaper, and you have some screenwriters, potential screenwriters, and some filmmakers that all go like latch onto this idea. They go,
Jake,
this is a great idea.
We have one screenwriter.
Ooh,
Sure.
what is
All right.
this? This is so funny.
This sounds so funny. Let's like adapt this. I'm going to turn this into a screenplay. It's going to be a dark comedy. Let's send it out. But it's all based off of this very, very real, very, very upsetting turn of events in this family, this Italian family in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And yeah, like how did they react when they saw this movie in theaters?
This is a thing that I've
What
thought
did
about
they-
before, just like
yeah.
this with other examples.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like a real life incident
Yeah.
being turned into a like somewhat comedic movie.
Yeah.
But it's you've got something like Pain and Gain.
Yeah.
The Michael Bay movie, where it is a movie about these guys who tortured and murdered people.
Yeah.
And then got sentenced to death for it. It's this horrifying story.
Yeah.
And then it gets turned into this like nihilistic, ultra dark comedy.
Yeah.
Or then you have something like it's
But
not,
that's different because those people all got sentenced to death.
They did.
Were
and,
they
and
all...
it fits Michael Bay's nihilistic sort of anti-humanist approach to anything.
Right, but
that's true.
But I wonder like what did like the families of the people who got murdered feel about it?
Yeah,
That sort of
exactly.
thing. But like
to play this stuff to them is very, very insane tragedy as like a broad
right, or like
black comedy.
You know the movie The Informant?
Yeah.
The Soderbergh movie.
Yeah, based
like
off a real story.
Exactly. Also a real story about this guy who caused a lot of people a lot of difficult times, and
Yeah.
it's a wacky comedy.
Yeah.
And then the sort of like the flip side of that is there's the new the Noah Hawley movie Lucy in the Sky with Natalie
Yeah.
Portman coming out soon that premiered at Toronto like last week. People don't seem to like it very much, but that's based on a true story that seems comedic on page, especially because of the whole adult diapers aspect of it. It's
Sure.
the whole thing with like, oh, this astronaut, she comes back from space and then has like basically like becomes a criminal and like kidnaps someone.
Yeah.
Right.
And it seemed like on paper like, oh, that'll be a dark comedy along the lines
She
of
needs
these.
to put on diapers to drive as far as she wants to go.
Yeah, but instead that's being played as like a very serious, like somber movie.
Yeah.
And whereas like when interviewed about it, everyone involved was like, no, we didn't want to. We weren't going to make light of this. We wanted to take it seriously.
But this movie is different
yeah.
because everyone lived.
Well, yes, everyone does live.
So it's
and
not even
they
like a
did
murder,
reaffirm
it's
their own
like-
love.
What? Yeah, right. So like there, like the kind of what could be considered cheesy Hollywood resolution of this seemingly out of nowhere, just forgiveness of everything that occurred is based off of an actual
Didn't
event.
the wife still go to jail for 4 years?
She
He
did
went
go
to
to jail for 4 years and
which
was
is not
released
what happened.
afterwards.
Yeah, here.
Well, I mean, this is one of those things where, again, it is inspired by a true story. The names and locations and details are changed.
Well,
And
this was my point that I was going to make was like, it's like fair use, or it's one of these things where you can
Yeah.
kind of just be like, I love the like broad stroke. I love the sort of like narrative twists of this story, but fuck you. I'm changing enough to like, you can't sue me. You can't be mad.
Right.
like-
you
like-
can steal from real life, but twist it enough that
Yeah.
you can get away with
And you're
it
like,
without being
technically-
like, I'm not actually making a movie about that particular story.
I'm going to say
making
based
it
on a true
about
story,
this-
but I won't even say which one. Everyone can find out very easily, but I'm not even. But I'm within the exact limits
it made
of
me,
the law.
It made me appreciate Fargo again, which, by the way, is a
Which
movie
is
that
based on a
opens
true
up
story.
with based on a true
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
And literally, Joel and Ethan Coen have said they had it prefaced with based on a true story, essentially to fuck with the people that were watching the
Yeah.
movie. It's a complete lie. That movie is based on no true story at all.
Right. They just
and
knew
they're,
it was an
they're
effective
doing it
way.
because it was an effective way to like hit home to the audience that like they could make them in their made up story feel more uncomfortable than they otherwise would have watching it, thinking erroneously that this movie somehow was connected to a real life event, which it wasn't. And they knew that. They were fucking with the audience. It was a very, very specific choice made by them. And I think this is a good thing to bring up because we've been talking about how this movie feels Coen Brothers-esque.
Yeah.
This is a strange thing that movies play with a lot. There's plenty of movies that base their storylines on real life events. People will always go like, "Oh, this is based on a true story," and suddenly you're an audience member watching the movie, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to give this way more weight than I otherwise would have."
Right.
You know, as
This
I'm watching
relates
the
to
movie,
human
oh shit, this was
beings.
actually something that people did in real life. This is completely fucked up. I can't believe the insane darkness that that like humans are capable of. You know, what like deep and abysmal depths can like humans reach?
I mean, still,
as far as
Pain
their
and Gain
interactions
has
with each other.
has one of my favorite things, which is the part where
Yeah.
it cuts from The Rock grilling severed human hands on a barbecue to just the text, "This is still based on a true story."
Right. Like there's some weird way that filmmakers can use that as like a way to like emphasize, you know, how much impact their story is going to have on the audience that's
Like Pain
watching
and Gain
it.
is a good and a bad example, though,
Yeah.
in relation to this movie. I love Pain and Gain.
Good movie.
It's a great movie, and like I totally agree with your assessment that it like kind of is the most distilled encapsulation of you know,
Michael Bay's worldview.
his worldview is very much effectively captured in that movie. But he goes about it through a bunch of different methods that are not here.
Right.
You know, like
That is a movie that is also very happy to, like, you know, exaggerate things and go big and almost surreal. And this is a movie that I will say I enjoyed this movie, I think, more than Jake did.
me too.
Yeah,
I think
I don't really like this movie. I think this is a bad movie.
I think it's worth watching.
Yeah,
I think it's worth watching only if you like Keanu Reeves.
I honestly
I
had a
disagree.
fun time.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's a movie that the thing is like I think there is a very good movie here with like
Yeah.
this material, and I wish it was that very good movie.
Honestly, you know when I was
Sure.
sold?
When?
You know when. Because I loved Kevin Kline's stereotyped Italian man performance, and when they finally removed the bullet from his
And they pulled the spaghetti
stomach,
out.
and there's a piece of spaghetti on the bullet that they removed from his stomach during the autopsy, I don't know if I laughed harder in a long time. I mean, like, that's so, like, there's so much there. What a potent
no,
image.
there's not.
Shut the fuck up, Jake.
No, that's good.
What a
It's-
potent image is
So fucking stupid.
It's
No, it's
great.
Jake.
He ate so much
Oh,
spaghetti.
he's Italian, so there's spaghetti on his bullet wound. Come on.
What do you mean?
But he ate the they put the sleeping pills in the spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
It's good.
Yeah, 2-1.
That's like the movie in one image.
yes. That is truly yes. That's right.
And honestly, guys, we should wrap this up.
All right.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any final thoughts?
Well, we're in agreement. I feel like Pat.
Yeah,
and we're just
you know, Matt and
Jake's-
Pat like this movie. I think this movie's stupid.
I mean,
Sure.
I'm not saying it's not stupid, but I'm saying I had a pretty fun time.
It's the good kind of stupid. is
Right,
what
right,
we're
right,
saying,
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
enjoyed
but I
seeing
think
the
we're all in
scene.
agreement that it's a good Keanu performance.
We're all
Yeah,
in
that is
agreement.
worth
Rose.
looking.
I love our
Rosé.
and we are all drinking rosé.
We are all,
while
have
we
all
are
been consuming
talking about this movie.
Decent amount of rosé.
And rosé, pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah, this episode brought to you by Rosé.
Yeah.
This is
What
four,
kind of rosé?
4 out of 5 bottles of rosé.
Let's talk about our sponsor. This is
La Vieille Ferme.
La Vieille Ferme.
Nice and cheap. You can get it almost anywhere. It's got a rooster on the label.
This
2
episode,
roosters.
this episode of Can't Get Enough of Keanu is brought to you by La Vieille Ferme.
No, Ferme. There's no
Ferme.
accent aigu on the last
La
E.
Vieille Ferme.
Well done, Jake. And on that note, I just want to say thank you to Brian Host for our theme song. Thank you to Emma Logsdon for our artwork. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Keanu Podcast. If you want, send us an email, keanupodcast@gmail.com. It would be great if you could maybe rate and review us on iTunes, because that helps people find the podcast. You can talk about these episodes, speculate about things we say on our subreddit r/Thrillums. Jake, you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can you can actually follow me on Vero now. I have a Vero account, and it's at the real JT.
Fuck you.
Spelled. What
are you looking at?
At the little at symbol.
Jake's looking at his phone.
TheRealjT. Follow me on Vero. There's certainly good stuff on there.
I'm so happy right now. The real JT
The real JT.
on Vero.
Yeah.
So
Can I reiterate also while we're here, please, I am primarily the person who runs the Instagram. I do a mediocre job at it, but what I would like to emphasize, because I've only done this once before, is please, if you've got any fan art that you have for Keanu,
fan art memes,
memes, Photoshop, just whatever.
anything relevant.
Anything related, I will probably accept a lot of it and put it on the official Instagram. So if you've got it, please send it to me, and just send it to the Gmail that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
KeanuPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And on that note,
Thank you.
be excellent to each other.